Welcome, viewers. This is Wadidja, as in what did you say, what did you do, what did you think? Bringing you another video here, hopefully to help prevent inventory loss in the Outriders demo. We've been having some serious issues with that, and this is current as of March 12th, even after the most recent update to the game, in which they were trying to address some of those issues in relationship to like when you co-op with another player and still have issues. So um, hopefully we can get this addressed. So good day. The only way that I know of on how to prevent that is to whenever you get something that you don't want to have deleted or lost out of your inventory, I would suggest that you immediately go in and equip it to your character, like I just did with that weapon there, or and this helmet here, and then go ahead and close out the um, uh, the game and do it as they call it properly. Close out the game to return to lobby, and then close out your gaming application. To me, there should be no need to have to do this in order for something to be saved. I mean, to me, however you shut down your game is however you shut your game. Um, the only improper time to me happens when you get a game crash, uh, rather than just say you go ahead and close application, however you do it through your PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, whatever your gaming system is. However you close out shouldn't be a problem to losing your inventory. But according to the devs, they act like there's some kind of proper way versus improper way. Either way, the proper way apparently is to go to your lobby first and then close out the application, the game, and then log back in to the game, to your application, and come back to your character. That is the best way to prevent losing any of your inventory if it's equipped, and to log out the game completely and come back in. If you go back to the main lobby and switch characters, for example, switching characters and coming back to your other character doesn't stop that. Losing, any equipment in your inventory. Um, Especially, once you close out your game application, you will notice that what you had in your other character will be gone. Now, if you switch back and forth between characters before closing out the game application, you won't see any loss in your inventory. At least from my experience, you haven't. It's only when you close out the application without properly saving your data, your inventory. And for example, for me, closing your inventory, closing your game application and saving your equipment to your inventory is the best way to do that. Um, Now, with let's see, 1 second here. 1 hour power. How you doing there, buddy? Um, so, like I said, the best way to prevent losing your inventory is saving it to your character by equipping it. And like I said, then once you close out the application, come back in after equipping your inventory. You can then re-equip whatever you had on previously and continue to play. And that's how I've saved all these extra pieces of gear that I have and all these other weapons that I have, because I like the base look of these weapons. Because that's what I plan to upgrade as I play along in the main game. I'm not too fond of the exotic look of various different things. Either way, um, there's no other method that I've noticed, including uh, doing what they call auto save in the game, either by going to a different area in the game and coming back, or going to say your options and doing causing the game to create an auto save by changing any of your options here in the gameplay or your HUD display, or anything like that. And luckily they did change this motion blur. But and then coming back out and having the game doing some autosave function, even going to the vendors and buying something and placing it in your inventory. By the time I haven't noticed that actually saving anything to your inventory. So the only other method that I know of to try to guarantee that you keep a hold of whatever you like to keep in your game is to um, go ahead and you can go ahead and break down your gear. Okay, so you get something that you want to save for the main game. You can go ahead and break down your gear, and as you see here, how I've there's a little black square next to Shield Maiden to the right. If you look at the 11.9%, you see 287 for the firepower, weapon leech 11.9%, and then you look below that, you see a little square box. That means that I have that mod in my inventory. Um, and so you can take any particular gear, like your legendaries or whatever, and break that down, and it will save it to your mod inventory. And you will see that that will be the case when you click on a piece of gear and you highlight over dismantle, and it will list whatever is going to be broken down from that gear and placed into your resource inventory and your mod inventory. Now, I have broken down every piece of gear that has a mod is already in my gear inventory. So if I click on this to break it down, it's not going to show that that mod will go into my mod inventory because, again, that little black square indicates that I already have it. But it will show you the other resources that will go into your kitty. So again, that's the only other way that you can try to make sure you maintain the integrity of what you have. And again, if you break down the mod, that's only going to be relatable to that particular character and that particular class, because no other the mod inventory, as well as your other resources for each character, are not shared between characters. And so if you have the mod broken down that you want to save, and you comes time to the main game, you build it on a particular weapon, and of course you have to have the resources for that character, you can go ahead and place it in your stash and share that between your characters. But that's the only other way besides equipping it to to a character, your weapon or your gear piece. Now, another option to equipping is to go ahead and, well, another option to equipping to each character, by the way, here's your stash, um, is to go ahead and you could have multiple of the same character. Say you like playing the Devastator or Trickster for grinding gear. You could go ahead and have up to 6 different characters, or you can play all different characters or any combination therein, and essentially go ahead and equip whatever you don't want to lose to each character. And after you say equip 2 main weapons and a side weapon and whatever gear you want to hold on to that character, switch over to the other character, and when you get what you don't want to lose equipped, switch over to the next character and rinse and repeat. If you're unconfident that for some reason your inventory may get lost for whatever reason, regardless of what method you try. Because even with what I'm suggesting here, though I've never had a problem, once I've equipped a weapon or the gear, closing out while it's equipped, relogging back into the game, and then switching over to another equipment, I've never saw anything lost. It doesn't mean that that's guaranteed. Um, and because I have seen an individual lose, well, at least I heard about it through, one of the other videos and through like blog type stuff, where there was an individual who was in a co-op matchmaking situation, and they had a game crash. I believe they weren't the host, and they lost every bit of equipment in there on their character, as well as everything in their inventory. So that was to me a very bizarre and probably a very rare circumstance, but it is possible. Um, and the other thing too is, sometimes to try to help prevent game crashes, because to me that's been the only time when you quote unquote improperly shut down the game, is when you have a game crash. There's times when you're grinding out missions, and about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, whatever, just at a certain point in time of grinding too long in the mission, you'll go into your inventory, delete various different things to clear out stuff. Or like for me, I like to collect the shards because I think that will be beneficial to crafting later, even though we only have a set maximum 25,000 for scrap, 1,000 for leather, and 1,000 for iron, and only 10 titanium. We have a limit of these resources, but we can collect unlimitedly shards for crafting. Um, so periodically I'll go in my inventory and break down gear. And sometimes I might get an improved piece of gear, and switch that out. But as soon as I go to do that, like I said, after about 20, 30, maybe 50 runs, I lose count after a while. The game will crash. I have no idea why. My guess is either it's a handshake perhaps with the server, there's too much information on that end, might be some ROM type thing, ready on hand memory situation. I don't know. I mean, I know as far as my hard drive, I keep 100 gigs free space. So, and I'm on fiber, so optics as far as like my cable. So I don't know my internet connection. I don't know why there's even an issue with the game crashing, but the game will crash if you grind out a particular segment of the game too much. Like if you're over there at the payday, um, or if you're payback, excuse me, payback mission, say you're grinding that, or if you're over at the Terra Infirma, and it doesn't matter what method of grind you have going on. You could be, farming the captains, dying, going back and forth with that method. You could be completing payday, you know, um, each and every time completely, going back to the young woman, the soldier, and collecting your reward. Either one of those types of situations, staying in a particular instance for too long, grinding out, will potentially cause a crash, game crash. At least it does on PlayStation Pro, which is what I'm on, PS4 Pro. And so you want to close out the application at some point in time and restart it again, or at least go back to the main camp, so that the server has a different handshake. I haven't seen any issue with going back to the main camp, then going back to your grind spot. It's a little interruption to your point, but it could help prevent you from having a game crash. Now, when you go ahead over here and you do the grind for um, Gauss, it's in his chest at the end for a legendary weapon, because you have to keep going back to um, the main lobby to select a different story point, and coming back to this solar tower to keep grinding this particular boss for the chest at the end. I've had no issues with the game crashing because in that way, or because there's been too much information stored up, or whatever the case is. But like I said, when you do grinds where you're constantly in one instance for too long, after a certain while, you'll have a problem. So, um, like I said, no other method other than saving your gear to your inventory, saving your, equipping your gear in your inventory has worked. Like I said, not even buying gear at the vendor. Um, that hasn't worked. Any type of quick save, auto save function, that doesn't work. The update that they've created, March 12th, doesn't work. So I hope this wasn't too long, too lengthy of an explanation. Um, Good luck to everybody. Uh, Thank you, 1 Hour Power, for tuning in. And, I hope this is helpful to everybody. And good luck. And I'll see everybody shortly again for another little grind segment of my own. Maybe luck will, RNG Jesus will bestow upon me a little gift of the legendary. All right. Take care, everyone.